Hey, veterans and families, it's Craig here from Royal Rock Counseling and Consulting, and welcome to our featured topic for the month of November 30 VA claims in 30 days. And make sure to mark your calendars because on November the 11th, I'm going live right here on this channel to answer frequently asked questions about VA claims and conditions across the web. To make sure you're fully equipped, I'm going to offer two resources that I use with veterans every day. The first resource that I'm going to offer is the three-stage VA Claim Playbook, your step-by-step guide to understanding, organizing, and strengthening your claim. The second resource I'm offering for free is the Mental Status Examination Assessment Decision Tree. This tool is a simple but powerful tool to help you understand how mental health evaluations impact your claim. Together, these are the only two documents you'll need to successfully file and win your VA claim. So hit that subscribe button, tap the notification bell, and don't miss a single day of this series. Now, let me remind you that the content in this series is for educational purposes only. It's not intended for legal, clinical, or medical advice, and there's no therapist or client relationship established. Royal Rock Counseling and Consulting LLC is not a VA accredited agent, attorney, or Veterans Service Organization, and it's not affiliated with the Department of Veterans Affairs. We do not prepare, present, or prosecute VA claims, but may provide administrative guidance and referrals to qualified professionals. Vets and families, I'm honored to walk with you through this process, helping you move from confusion to confidence. So let's get started. Hey, vets and families. Today we're going to talk about the musculoskeletal system again. We're still in the 5200 codes, and we're talking about the humerus or other impairment of the humerus bone. This is Diagnostic Code 5202 under 38 CFR 4.71 alpha. Just to give you a definition of the humerus and what it is your upper arm bone, and it plays a critical role in shoulder mobility. Damage to your humerus can cause serious joint dysfunction, especially at the scapulohumeral articulation where the humerus meets the shoulder blade. And I've got a picture there to show you what the humerus looks like. So that's what we'll be covering today on our video. So in this slide, we want to discuss the circumstance for both the major and the minor arm for the humerus condition. Let's just go down the list. At the top of the list that we have loss of the head, which is the flail shoulder, and that would be at 80% for the major arm and 70% for the minor arm. Non-union false flail joint, that would be 60% for the major arm, 50% for the minor arm. The fibrous union of the two joints, that would be 50% for major and 40% for minor arm. And as you see, this, in level of severity, this goes down. Recurrent dislocation, frequent with guarding all arm. Remember, we talked about what guarding meant and what the frozen sort of shoulder meant. That is 30 and 20%. Recurrent dislocation with infrequent guarding at 90 degrees. That's at 20% across the board for both major and minor arms. And then malunion with marked deformity. And all of this is straight at 38 CFR, part 3, where it discusses all these different particular percentages for the different concerns with the humerus bone or the humerus joint. 30 and 20% for major and minor arm, and then malunion with moderate deformity is 20% across the board for major and minor arm. These ratings also consider pain, weakness, guarding, and limitation of motion, including the Duca factors like fatigability and functional loss. Remember, when we talked about functional loss and impairment is always a factor whenever we're looking at any body part. So shoulder is no different. This is the humerus bone and some of the percentages that are associated with that. Next, we're going to talk about case law. And before we start discussing case law, remember what we've always said on this channel. Whenever we discuss case law, this is case law that you can use as you compare that applicable case law to your current situation and your current symptoms, and seeing if they will apply. You first take what you have going on individually, everything that's in your record, everything that's in your file, and you look for similar case law of where the BVA has adjudicated in cases favorably that are similar to yours or that may match up to what you have. Look at your own evidence, and then you cite case law as you see fit from that perspective, and only then from that perspective. So there's a citation number, there's a decision date. In this case, the veteran had recurrent shoulder dislocations, the guarding of all arm movements. He or she had pain, weakness, and limited range of motion, but not ankylosis. The board granted a 30% rating under DC 5202, switching from DC 5201 because symptoms more closely matched recurrent dislocation with guarding of all arm movements. These little details are very, very important, specifically when you get up to the level of the Board of Veterans Appeals. A key legal point here is that the VA can change diagnostic codes if the new one better reflects the current disability picture. And here you see Reed versus Shinseki, and then also cited Duca versus Brown. That's what we were talking about earlier as far as the Duca case, Mitchell versus Shinseki, and Chavis versus McDonald. There's Chavis versus McDonald again. We knew it will come back up, emphasizing functional loss during flare-ups matter even without objective loss of range of motion. So that's the case law highlight for the humerus bone in the shoulder. You want to make sure you pay specific attention to that specific element. And so now I have really a three-part evidentiary support strategy for post-service claim on the humerus bone, or the humerus joint in the shoulder bone. Um, First is lay evidence, which this will be very familiar to any of you who have been watching my channel or any of you who are familiar with the VA claims process. Lay evidence, you document the frequency of dislocations. You want to describe guarding. I avoid overhead movements due to shoulder slipping out. You want to explain how pain impacts the use of your arm, lifting, reaching, or carrying. And nextly, you want to talk about medical evidence. Use VADVQs that include range of motion tests, dislocation frequency, guarding or locking episodes, and muscle weakness. And then you want to ensure that providers address your flare-ups, functional loss, and occupation impact. Part 3 talks about applying a stronger rating code if your symptoms involve frequent dislocations, and guarding request rating under DC 5202, even if the RO initially uses DC 5201, Diagnostic Code 5201 for limited motion. Post 2021 updates emphasize abduction and flexion at 90 degrees for dislocation criteria under updated definitions. Cite Mitchell and DeLuca to ensure pain function loss is considered. Listen, I know I'm coming out with these videos and some of them may seem a little dry, some of them may seem a little weird, but they may not seem as vibrant or lively. But let me tell you something. Some days are coming. Some days are coming where these videos will be all important because you'll use them as a baseline to figure out how to submit the right claim. Once all these things start cracking down, you're going to need these types of videos to show you exactly what to do on the front end. And I'm telling you, the sensationalistic content will not help you. So I hope you're joining us on this 30 claims in 30 days journey, because we're giving you things that I think will be beneficial to you when these times come where folks start holding more of our feet to the fire as veterans when it comes to VA claims. So stick around. I think it's going to get much, much better as the series moves on, and I'm glad to have you with me. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. If you want any more information about the subject of this series, be sure to check out the playlist right here. And remember, live royally and live well. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.